New units. Our 7th unit is plane geometry and similarity. Student handout number 1, we're going to talk about a circumference of a circle. There's a couple parts of a circle that you need to know about. Number 1 is what we use. We use the letter R for it. It is the radius. It is the distance from the center of the circle to the outside edge, and I'll show you that in just a second. Let's go ahead and show you that right now. The radius is the distance from the center, so they've already got a dot right there, to the outside edge. That is the radius. Now, the radius can go at any part there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to always look like that right there. Okay. D, let's do this one in red. D stands for diameter. And it is a straight line that passes through the center of a circle. It has 2 endpoints. Okay. Again, it does not always have to go straight up and down. It can go sideways or whatever and go, that way. But the diameter has 2 endpoints on the circle, where the radius only has 1. And that is the diameter. So you look at that, the diameter is 2 radiuses, because the radius is half, so the diameter is double that, because it's the whole. It's the whole length of the inside. All right, the next thing we need to know about is the C, is what letter we use for it, but it's called the circumference. If you don't know how to spell that, it's at the top of your paper. It is the distance around the circle. So it's basically the perimeter. I really don't even know how to spell perimeter. P-E-R-I-M-E-T-E-R. It's basically the perimeter, okay? Except because it's a circle, we don't call it the perimeter, we call it the circumference. So that is the circumference. All right. Using our little diagram, describe how the diameter and the radius are related. Well, I've kind of already talked about that. Is the diameter is 2 of the radius. Also, the radius is half the diameter. So the diameter is 2 of the radius, so 2 times. Got my O there. And the radius is half of the diameter. If that makes sense to you, then today should be fairly easy for you. But let's get started with a question for today. Except questions, we're not going to do questions today. Today we are going to do songs. First song, guess that song. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let it play through the next little part of the song there. All right. Micah and his friends work at a tire factory. The factory manufactures several different size tires for different vehicles. Let's fill out the table below to show how the diameter and the circumference of the tires are related. All right, they tell us that they got a toddler bike. It's 14 inches. The circumference of the tire is 43.96. They're telling us that the ratio that circumference divided by diameter is going to tell us the ratio and go in your calculator and enter 43 divided by 14, or 43.96, excuse me. I'm going to do the same on my handy dandy calculator. 43.96 divided by 14 gives me 3.14. That looks like a number I know. Alert, alert. Okay. The next one, we're going to do the same thing because the ratio is C to D, which is circumference over diameter. Okay. So this time it's going to be 56.52 over 18. I'm going to enter that into my calculator. 56.52 divided by 18. Oh my goodness, look what I get. 3.14. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for the next one. It is C over D. So it's going to be 75.36 divided by 24. I'm going to do that on my calculator. I'm going to go 75.36 divided by 24. How do I know to put 75 in first? Top number goes in your calculator first. But when you do all that, you're going to get 3.14. And the last one, we're going to do the same exact thing. C over D, and then we're going to divide, and we are going to get 3.14. While you're still writing that, let's go ahead and answer this next question. What patterns do you notice regarding the circumference and the diameter of each tire? Here's what I want you to notice. That, let's not write that way. Let's do, when you divide the circumference by the diameter, you get approximately, because those were approximate, by the way, 3.14. And here's the other thing I want you to know. 3.14, or roughly, is pi. So pi is actually a long number, which I'm sure you know. It's a bunch of different numbers. We've talked about it before. It is roughly. That's why I use these little wiggly lines, because that means it's an estimation. It's not exact, because pi isn't exact. Okay, it'll keep going. So we have to let everybody know that we are rounding it. So we put those little squiggly marks. Also, if you don't know how to draw the pi button, you draw a little wiggly line, and then it's like two T's under it, okay? That's how you draw pi. All right, next song. Just gonna stand there and watch me. I'm gonna let the second part of it play. All right. Circumference on the next back page. The circumference of a circle is the distance around the circle, aka it's the And the way that we can find it, because they're not going to give it to us a lot, the way that we can find their circumference is to do it one of two ways. We can go circumference, which is C. And I want you to go ahead and write that down. So C is circumference. Okay. Pi times D. D is diameter. And in a second, we're going to use radius. So R is radius. And pi is 3.14. Now, when we use pi, you can multiply times 3.14 in my class. I am okay with that. So anytime you see pi, that means 3.14. I'm going to write that in yellow there. So you're just going to do 3.14 times the diameter. What if they give me the radius? Well, if they give me the radius to find the circumference, I'm going to go 2 times pi times r. Again, pi is still 3.14. Why is it 2? Because it takes 2 radiuses. If you want to look at it this way, you're really doing this, 2 pi times radius. If you don't like it that way in the green right there, and you want to know that way, I'm good with you writing it that way, okay? I'm okay with that. Pi can be approximated to, as we said a second ago, 3.14. You're going to be amazed at how simple this is. Now, in this particular instance, they give us the radius. How do I know they gave us the radius? Because that's half. Okay, you see that. It's not the full. When they give you the full one like this, that is the diameter. So in this case, they gave us the radius. So we're going to use the radius one. So we're going to use the formula C equals 2 times the radius times pi. Now, you're going to see that written as this. Okay? Understand there's multiplication between all those. Okay? We've talked about that before. But anyways, so we're going to plug in the values. So we're going to have C, we don't know the circumference, 2 times the radius, which is 6, times pi, which is 3.14. Oops. 3.14. So all you have to do in your calculator is put in what I'm highlighting in red right here. So in your calculator, go 2 times 6 times 3.14. And it's going to give you 37.68. Now, this is important. We're talking about inches, so make sure you keep that, okay? Now, to finish working out our little problem here, in terms of pi, you would have had C equals 12 pi. Why 12? Because 2 times 6 is what? 12, okay? The diameter would be 12 pi. All right, so this time they didn't give us the radius. This time they gave us the diameter. So we're going to use the diameter formula, which is C equals pi times D. So we're going to plug in the values now. We're going to go C equals pi times diameter, which is 14. Okay. And when it asks for it in terms of pi, it's just asking for this right here. I'll write it in red because it's 14 pi's. That's what it's asking for there when it says in terms of pi. You're really not going to see this on a test, so don't worry about it. All right, and the answer is 3.14 times 14 is going to give you 43.96. And this time we're talking about centimeters. So the answer is in centimeters. All right, circle number 3. Again, they give us the radius because they give us half. So the formula we're going to use is the radius formula up there. So it's going to be C equals 2 times the radius times pi. And then we're just going to plug in those values like we did earlier. C equals 2 times the radius, which is 3.5, times pi, which is 3.14. When it asks for it in terms of pi, it's just asking for the diameter times the pi, which in this case would be 7 pi. Again, you're not going to see that on your test, so don't worry about it. Work that out in your calculator right there. 2 times 3.5 times 3.14, and you are going to get 21.98. And we're talking about meters, so don't forget your M. Okay. All right. Third song of the day. You just need a better life than this. You need something I can do. I'll let the other part of it play. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights. All right, I'm gonna play one more. Next song, song number 4. You wanna steer, but I'm shifting gear. I'll take it. I'm gonna let it finish playing. All right. A Ferris wheel travels in a circular motion and measures 40 meters from the top to the bottom. That is the diameter. That is all of it. That's from the top to the bottom. What is the length of the radius? It goes 40 meters from top to bottom in a straight line. So what is the radius? What is half of that? It's going to be, the radius is going to be 20 meters. And what is the length of the diameter? It was 40 meters. So the diameter is 40 meters because that was the length from the top to the bottom. Draw you a circle for your Ferris wheel. It said from the top to the bottom was 40. What is that? That's the diameter. So what is half? Half is the radius, which is 20. Okay? Now, there's your Ferris wheel in green. In your Ferris wheel, if you're up there in the little red spot up there, and you go all the way around, okay, how many meters did you travel? Well, you're going all the way around, so you're going the perimeter, which when we're talking about the perimeter of a circle, we call it the circumference. So you're going all the way around. So what is the circumference? Remember, circumference is diameter times pi, or the circumference is 2 radius times pi. I'm going to use the one I'm going to highlight in green. Why am I going to use that? Because it's just one less number I have to use because I have the diameter now. So to plug it in to find the circumference, which is all the way around the circle, circumference equals diameter, which is 40, times the pi. 40 times 3.14 is going to be C, the circumference, is going to equal 125.6. Now, we're talking about what? Meters. So it's 125.6 meters. While you're writing that, I'm going to go ahead and play song number 5. We're only going to have 6 for today. This is song number 5.
Duh.
All right. Last question, then we'll play the last song. On another Ferris wheel, a car will travel 100.48 meters to go around once. What is the height from the top of the car to the bottom of the car? All right, so we got a process here. There's our Ferris wheel over there. We know that if they go all the way around, which is the circumference, they are going to go. So remember, circumference is pi times diameter, or diameter times pi. If we know the circumference is 148, right? Because they told us, equals. We know that pi is 3.14, don't we? We're missing the diameter, which is d. We'll put it in green. We can solve that. We just have to go vice versa. That's an equation. That is a one-step equation. I'm going to rewrite that over here in black just so we can. How would we get rid of that 3.14 from that d? We would do what? We would divide. So go ahead and divide 100.48 divided by 3.14, and you are going to get 32 equals the diameter. So the diameter of the Ferris wheel is 32, and we're talking about meters. 32 meters. Zoom out in case you didn't get something. Last question of the day, our last song. This is the number 6, by the way.
I need somebody to hear, somebody to know.
Finish the song.
The day bleeds into nightfall.
All right. That's all for today. And the fat guy in the back, I'll see you on the flip side. Adios, amigos.